expansion. It was the way that it all started out. Originally, this series was a Cup series on Saturday nights. They decided to expand, come to Monday Night Racing, and bring a truck series back on September 13th, 2021. It's been a long time coming, but since then, we've had 49 drivers, 17 races, and it's come down to this. 4 drivers, 1 more race to figure out who's going to be coming away with the championship. We got rivals, enemies, clashes, all coming here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and we're bringing it all to you. It is the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, and it's all for the Southern Sports Media Championship race here tonight. The pressure is up. The heat is boiling. We're here at Hot Atlanta. We are excited for it all. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. And Zach, it's all come down to this. 1 race, 1 championship, and all you got to do is finish ahead of the other competitors.
Yeah, to quote you, Sam, this is it, my friend. It's going to be everything on the line here for these 4 drivers. You know, we got a giant field of drivers also out here, so they could have a definite effect here. But right now, looking at the practice times, our 4 drivers are Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley, Mark Willey, Vincent Sora, top of the board. I'm expecting fireworks to fly off here, man, at one of the best tracks here, one of all the iRacing service, Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm excited to crown a first champion. That's the thing. Not only are we crowning a champion tonight, but this is the first Truck Series champion here. It's going to be a wild one.
Usually when we come to these championship races, there's always that 1 to 2 drivers in the final 4 that has never won throughout the whole entire season. They are the true underdog. Yes, we have our underdogs of our championship 4, but this is a rarity. Every single one of our final 4 drivers, Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley, that of Brandon Colley, Ethan Smith, they've all won at some point this season, and they're ready to throw it all down. And helping us throughout tonight's broadcast is going to be our pit road reporter, Brian Johnson. Brian, you got to chat with all 4 of these drivers throughout the week. What were some of the thoughts and feelings you were getting from the drivers so far?
I did, and I went to all of them, asked them the same questions. I said, what's your game plan for tonight, and what is it going to take for you personally to win the championship, and how far are you willing to go on the final lap to win it? And Whitley, he got back to me and said, his goals for the race are to stay up front, stay out of trouble. He's got to save tires. And he's got to be mistake-free on track and pit road. If we do get that green flag pit stop in this race, then that's a very treacherous spot. Got to be mistake-free there. And he says he's not going to dump anybody for the win, but he will move somebody. Colley, he said, really, it's not about really being up front in the lead, but he's just got to beat the 3 other guys. He's got to find the grip in the track all race long and keep it. And that's one thing we do see at Atlanta. Sometimes that grip where it is in the track, that kind of shifts around, so he's got to go and find that. And he said he's willing to use his truck up and anybody else's in order to win the championship. So that's that's going to be fun to see if it comes to that. Ethan Smith says much similar to Whitley, got to stay up front, save the tires. He's going to do what he has to win, and he's not going to check up for anybody on that final lap. And then Vincent Sora, jokingly, he said at first that he's just going to junk all of those dumpsters. But then, on a serious note, he says, his goal for the beginning of the race is to qualify on the pole. Again, save tires for that long run. He wants to be fast on that long run. Got to be mistake-free. And he's going to be full send at the end. So all of these guys, they kind of have their individual kind of small goals throughout the race as to what they think is going to bring them success in order to win the championship tonight. But overall, it's kind of the same thing. Stay up front, mistake-free, stay out of trouble, save the tires, and, just that final lap, when that white flag comes out, they're going to be willing to give it their all to win that championship.
And that's honestly what we've seen throughout this season is drivers giving it their all on every single lap, and especially at the end of our final 4. Ethan Smith, his win that he got at that of Nashville Super Speedway came from a risky call of going for 2 tires instead of, going for the 4 that everyone else decided to go for. With that strategy call, got him a victory. Brandon Colley, kind of similar, had to go with strategy calls that got him wins. The tracks that he's won at Darlington, and also seeing him win later on in the season at Richmond. And then the other two, Zach, we've seen this boiling up, the rivalry of that of Vincent Sora and Mark Whitley. Well, we've seen these drivers come at one another at all times, but this time at a 1.5-mile course where we've seen Vincent Sora lose both of those 1.5-mile races on the final lap. It could happen again here tonight, but he's going to want some redemption after being taken out by his teammate at Las Vegas earlier in the season. Then the incredible 3-wide finish at Texas. The pressure's on to see if the 15 can clutch up, or will it be one of his other competitors that come here clutch?
It's definitely clutch time indeed, Sam. You know, that's one thing we talk about with this playoff format like this is the clutch factor. It's going to take these drivers to really not even figure out the track. The track is tough in its own. But, man, just beat your competition tonight. Stay ahead of the game. Don't get ahead of yourself, and make sure you don't make mistakes. That's what it's going to take. You said Vincent Sora there lost both those races on the last lap. That is an amazing stat to look back at personally. He's got to hold on to it tonight if he wants to do it here. But I tell you what, he's got 3 hungry competitors ready to get it done, and definitely some big rivals.
With you talking about the track, how tough it's going to be. We're going to go down trackside and take a look at Tame the Turns and see how well can Atlanta be tamed.
Hello everyone, welcome back. We're going to jump right into it and you'll see why in a little bit. Here we are at Atlanta, headed into turn 1. Going to give a little bit of a lift, get the truck all the way down to the white line. There's that little gray area similar to what we had at Martinsville, right in between the line and the rubber on the track. That's what we're going to be shooting to get our left side tires in. 3 and 4 are going to do the same thing, just a little lift, get it all the way down to the white line, and we're going to let the truck naturally drift up to the track. We want as little wheel into the truck as possible. That's what's going to save us tires here. Now the cool thing about Atlanta is that since this track surface is pretty worn, we may be able to see some multi-groove racing. Some of these guys may be half a lane off the bottom, a whole lane off the bottom, and I don't anticipate the top line working too well, but we might see it. Who knows? But you know, the trick is just to save that right front tire. This track surface, as old as it is very abrasive. And you'll see why we want to save that right front here in a few seconds. So knowing how Atlanta is on tires, I went out here and I did 30 laps. So here's one of the laps towards the end of the run. You can see we have to do a full lift now. And getting back into the gas, we really have to be careful with this truck. Sometimes it can be tight, sometimes it can be loose on exit, depending on the weather. But the tires just degrade so quickly here. The difference in speed from the beginning of the run to the late of the run is gigantic. Again, 3 and 4, huge lift, and just being careful to get back into the gas. And these guys can master that, might have some success.
Big thanks to that of Brian Johnson, our pit reporter, for giving us Tame the Turns. And I got to say there, Brian, you got to show us the 2 different aspects of how these drivers are going to be attacking this race here tonight. I mean, yes, that was driving by yourself, but the added aspect of driving in a pack, that's going to be very treacherous as well, especially for a Championship 4.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, dirty air here at Atlanta is a huge factor. So gotta find that clean air. You definitely don't want to be riding behind somebody's bumper for 30 laps. You're going to roast your right front in a hurry. So you are going to have to try to figure out how to take advantage of the different lanes that we have here. Atlanta is a wide track, but the problem is that the higher you run in the corner, the more you wear that right rear tire. So you got to be careful about where you're running and how long you're running there. But the thing that's most important is that you got to find that clean air.
Clean air is going to be very important for sure, especially in the early going. I was talking to some of the drivers where that was their key point as well. When I was talking with Vincent Sora as earlier today, I was trying to get his points, his strategy, what he wanted to do. And it seemed like for him, it was get up front, get that clean air. But to first get that, you got to treacher through qualifying. And Zach, that's where these drivers are heading to now. Qualifying, 2 laps. You have yourself 5 minutes for 2 laps to put down your fastest lap to get up front.
Yeah, you spoke about clean air. Well, this is how you get it right here, right to start the race. If they can put down 2 laps here to be able to put them up front, I think the final 4 are going to be looking to do that. If you already set yourself back around that 10th, 12th area, mid pack, you're going to have a lot of work in that first stage there until we get to lap 55, and even in that stage, we're not going to have enough fuel. So you're going to have definitely some interesting strategies playing out during that whole stage there. If we keep it green, this qualifying going to be so crucial. This could be something these drivers go back and look at tonight and say, this is something that could have started out my night a lot better, put me in a better position that I could have been in to set me up to win this championship. So qualifying, not everything, but I think this is the setup to build onto your performance here tonight.
Also because we've had 17 races to look back on, see the stats and the strategies that the drivers have done throughout this season. What's crazy to think is we've only ran 2 other mile-and-a-half races, Las Vegas and Texas. And of those 2 races, I was looking at the average of qualifying positions, and highest of those was actually Brendan Colley. He was averaging a second place qualifying position, and then the next highest was Mark Whitley, averaging a 3rd place for himself. Vincent Sora was averaging 6th place for qualifying average of those 2 races, but it was Ethan Smith who was extremely struggling. I was even talking with the 00 coming into practice. He's averaging 17th place during qualifying. He's got to get a better qualifying run if he wants a good finish here tonight and have a chance for that championship.
Yeah, let me see how critical it is. I mean, in those races, to start right up front, you get that clean air first off. That is something that everybody talked about they wanted, but you're also out of the melee. You have a lot less chance to get into trouble there. As you see, actually, I think that was Jonathan Smith there on his qualifying lap. He got into a little bit of trouble there on his lap as the times start to come in. These are going to be critical times for him. Ethan Smith right now 2nd on the board as they start to roll in. Mark Whitley jumping to the top. And I tell you what, there Vincent Sora now going to jump to the top with his 2nd lap. So what great times being put down by our final 4 contenders, one-upping each other there right at the end.
One-upping each other for sure, and now seeing our top contenders, Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley, doing a great job for themselves, and also the wait for Colley. What is Brandon Colley going to place himself currently on his 1st lap? Going to be up to 17th, but the 2nd lap's going to be where the most important speed's going to be for the one. Where can he put himself on the ticking board? And as we're waiting for the drivers to finish up their qualifying, this gives us time to also thank all the amazing sponsors. That at Race Car Graveyard, the title sponsor for tonight. If you're looking to get yourself a diecast from that of 1/24th to 1/64th ratio diecast, go to Race Car Graveyard today on Instagram, and you can also use the promo code RCGY for a discount. And as well, Track Racer Refined Gaming, if you're trying to get yourself finished up, you're either starting or finishing your racing rig, go to Track Racer. Again, Refined Gaming, as more drivers are coming in. Kyle Rochelle now splitting up the top 2 for the front row. Still Vincent Sora with the pole position. We got 1 minute and 35 seconds left here, Zach. I think the big surprise has to be the fact that Brandon Colley did not get the best qualifying time we were expecting from him. 8th currently on the board, as there's still a few more drivers trying to put up a time.
Yeah, we saw the final 4 contenders there, the top 4 in practice. Right now, they're actually got a little separation between them there. Brandon Colley down in 7th, along with Ethan Smith. Now they're both getting slotted down 1 farther position as the board continues to change. The drivers jumping up there as they drop down to 8th and 9th now, Sam. This is not the greatest start for them, but I tell you what, Atlanta is a place where you can get passes done. The fall off is in the tires. Just because you qualify that far back does not mean it's over for them tonight. It's going to be tough to start out right there, but if they can methodically work their way up, they should have no problems by the end of that stage being in position.
For these drivers, they still have fast repair. So if you get caught up in an early accident, your race is not completely over. As you see, Gregory Shaw going to be up to 16th after his time, giving us with 40 seconds left. I think there's only one other competitor out on track going to put down a time, and that's going to be Jesse Thordick, as you see on screen, the 20, who has shown up late to a couple of these races, but now shown up on time, going to try to put down the fast qualifying time for the 20 machine, but there might not be enough time to put down a second lap as we got 20 seconds left in qualifying. It's going to be close for the 20 machine.
I think he's not going to have enough time here to be able to get that second lap in. At least he'll be able to get the first, see where it can put him here in that 20 machine. But yeah, right now it looks like Vincent Sora going to be the pole setter unless Thordick pulls something amazing out. No, He's going to jump up to looks like 21st on the board. So time runs out. Vincent Sora starting off the night right here for that 15.
Well, as qualifying comes to a close, we got to give a big thanks to our qualifying results sponsor, Hot Lap Designs. If you're trying to get yourself either a racing suit, helmet, gloves, or even get your vehicle painted, Hot Lap Designs can do it for you. Go look up Hot Lap Designs, and they can get you some of the best schemes out there. But for qualifying results, it's time for the championship race here tonight, and it's getting the pole position. Vincent Sora in first place, Kyle Rochelle in second. Then you find Mark Whitley in third position, James Loveland in fourth, Danny Cochran in fifth. That of John Forbes going to be in sixth place for the 11th. Seventh goes to Aaron Kralik, as well as Brandon Colley at eighth. Ethan Smith gets ninth, and finishing out your top 10, it's going to be Alexander Light. Zach, all top four of our championship drivers are in the top 10.
Yeah, all four of them in the top 10 here as we hit down the rest of the grid. Martin Morales Jr. there starting in the 11th position. 12th going to be Cody Reed. 13th going to go to Jonathan Smith in the 32 machine. 14th going to be Trevor Earhart. 15th place going to go to Dakota Maniz there, the winner from Talladega. 16th is going to go to Gregory Schultz. 17th is going to be Tyler Dingler. 18th going to go to Sean Husteller. 19th is Cody Dorsey. And rounding out that top 20 is Christopher Norris.
And we saw him put down a time. It's going to be that of Justin Dordick, as well as Carl Pooler, out of Joshua Free, Thomas Walter, and Max Foner. Finishing out your 25 trucks are going to be racing here tonight for the Southern Sports Media Championship race at Atlanta. If you'd like to go to a place that is now innovating the way for sports news is being received, while also providing you with cutting-edge ways to buy licensed NASCAR diecast, go to southernsportsmedia.com. Southern Sports Media just was launched at the end of 2021 in the fourth quarter, so go check them out. They're new, they're brand new, but they certainly are trying to give you the best. Again, that is southernsportsmedia.com for more information. Zach, it is championship racing time. Vincent Sora is going to be up front. We're waiting to get the all clear to start rolling, but as all the drivers are giving their thanks as they're trying to prep, this is going to be the most pressure-filled race for these drivers. I couldn't imagine how a championship race is feeling, especially at Atlanta, where you know the first couple of laps could be so detrimental in a blink of an eye.
Man, this is giving me chills here to start this race. It always this championship vibe. It's as a driver, it's one of the toughest nights you're going to have. All your focus is on is getting the win. That's how these playoff formats work in these cup or in the NASCAR style races and stock car racing. We go to our last race. You have to be the top finisher of a certain select group. It's such a different mentality than a points race. Points race, you always think about consistency. All you think about tonight is getting a checkered flag. It's pretty much checkers or records. Whoever can position themselves the best here, man, is going to be a happy driver to pull off the first championship here at the Truck Series. I'm so excited to get this started.
This is it. Championship 4 drivers, all qualified in the top 10. Your drivers to watch out for: Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley, Vincent Sora, and Mark Whitley. 17 races have gotten us to this point for the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, and it's all on the line here tonight. For 125 laps, there is a stage break at the end of lap 50, but they first have to survive this first stint before they can make it to the end. Pace truck is off. The Southern Sports Media Championship race is green, and it's Vincent Sora and that of Kyle Rochelle going to be side by side as they're heading down into turn number 1.
Tell you what, I already seen a little bit of wheel spin on the initial start. We'll have to watch for that later in the race if we get a late race restart on an older set of tires or at some point here later. But Vincent Sora powers to the lead off of 2. Side by side now, Mark Whitley trying to follow through with Kyle Rochelle fighting strong on that outside lane. They're going to have tons of grip here in the opening lap, but man, it's going to fall away quickly.
They are going to have to build up this heat in the first couple of laps. Yes, you're full throttle, but these first lap or 2, you're extremely loose off the corners, and you're seeing it right now. The trucks holding on, but they're still side-by-side pack racing. Vincent Sora already going to be 2 truck lengths away, but the new fresh skin 77 is Mark Whitley going with the red and gold and black here tonight. Just got this scheme for tonight's race, and you're seeing 2 of our Championship 4 drivers in the top 2.
Yeah, already making big moves. That's important for Mark Whitley to be right to the back bumper of that 15, not let him get too far away and put a car in between him. But here we go. James Loveland up high on the outside of Danny Cochran as we ride on board with him. You also got John Forbes coming into the picture, but Brandon Colley was able to get by Aaron Kralik, make his way up to the 7th position.
Danny Cochran, a driver that's already won at these mile-and-a-half races, almost swept the mile-and-a-half races. as he won back at Las Vegas, was a part of the 3-wide amazing action at Texas. But right now, Vincent Sora under heavy pressure. Mark Whitley right on the back bumper, trying to give a bump, and now going to move it to the outside as we still right on board with the 2 machine. You can see, Zach, the pressure is certainly up there for our front 2, which was interesting. I was talking to both of them. They felt so comfortable and confident coming in tonight. But if anyone was feeling too nervous, Mark Whitley kind of about a week ago, he said, if you asked me a week ago, I would have been telling you I'm nervous. I'm feeling the pressure. But right now, I'm feeling good, and I want to go out and win a championship.
Yeah, look at that move, too, around the outside. Takes the lead here quickly. He is having no regard for those tires. He says he quickly wants to get to that lead, get the clean air. That's something everybody talked about. He's doing it right now. As you can see, Brandon Collier trying to fight to the bottom of Danny Cochran and John Forbes there. As they were almost 3 wide off of 2 there for a moment. As everybody single files out. As Collier again trying to look to that 2's inside. Just can't get there. He's going to have the 11 there as he can't close it out.
Not able to fully make the pass, and now Colley's going to be stuck on the inside trying to use the draft from Loveland in front of him in that V-Speed machine. Colley, coming into the night, was one of those drivers that has the lowest, has finished all the way back in 15th position is his average at these mile-and-a-half courses. He's going to need a solid performance here tonight if he wants to challenge for a championship. And as a little bit of a report from drivers further back, Jonathan Smith as well as Cody Dorsey got in a little bit of a hustle, but luckily no yellow comes out as we were still right on board with the 1. But I gotta say, from the average finishes from our mile-and-a-half races, Zach, I was surprised that the 1 has the lowest finish of 15th, while everyone else is finishing in the top 10, excuse me.
This mile-and-a-half races seemed not to go his way. He had the best qualifying, like you brought up earlier, but did not have the best results to go along with it. I know at Las Vegas he led a bunch of laps there, had a major mistake on pit road, ended up speeding there, so that really set him back in that Texas race. Just did not have the finish there due to that major incident coming down to the end. He was involved in one of those, so yeah, not the greatest finishes for him there, but man, he's got the speed. I know this is one of his favorite tracks in the 1 machine, so we'll be looking for him tonight as that long run goes on. We'll see what he has, because we see at some points this season his long run pace is where he's been very, very strong, and it looks like Ethan Smith along with him, they've been marching the way forward here.
Slowly just making small little passes throughout the night. Ethan Smith, if you looked at the stats, you looked at everyone's overall, you could say this 00, I even said it to him, you're kind of the underdog coming in tonight. He said, yeah, the pressure's not there to win the championship, but I want this. I'm going to do any strategy that's necessary to get a win and get the championship done. So this 00 certainly has the firepower to do so. And Zach, you look back to the beginning of the season, Ethan Smith qualified well, was finishing well and very consistent. He's now going to have to perform and get another win, I think. You don't have to get a win to win this championship here tonight, but with the competitive nature and the caliber of drivers that are in our Final Four, this 00 might have to get to victory lane by the end of the night.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a win, Sam. It's just one of those things where everybody brings their A game, and I just think it's what it takes. I've seen these championship races play out a lot of times. Not many times you see that the winner of the race is not involved in the championship race. So it happens. It definitely does. But man, I think Ethan Smith, he's definitely have to go forward here as he's trying to work over John Forbes and find a little clean there in that outside line. That's one thing that Brian Johnson broke. That line is interesting. It can really work here. Atlanta does give you the option to make speed in these other lanes up higher, find the cleaner air. Even our leader, Mark Whitley, running up higher, though, along with James Loveland. But it does seem to have an effect on the tire wear. We're going to have to see which line is the more dominant for the long run. Drivers staying on the bottom, will they have the better wear, or does it go the other way as things change here a lot of times when it comes to this racing?
Yeah, they change a lot in a blink of an eye, really, on where drivers are at. As we're going to be talking about our championship 4 all night long, but now going to be trying to go to the inside is the 13. That's going to be Alexander Light trying to make the pass on John Forbes. Forbes making a mistake, giving an opportunity here to the 13. But Zach, surprising start for the 13. Alexander Light, one of the drivers that's notoriously known for racing back in 15th. He's now in the top 10, qualified well, and starting to stay in the top 15 as here comes Eric Kralik to the inside.
Well, I tell you what, this is, like you said, great start for Alexander Light. This may be his first chance at a top 10 this season. Has not had one throughout the whole entire season. Man, that would be a huge turnaround for him here in his 11th start of the season.
Alexander Light again didn't start all the races that were necessary for him to make the playoffs, so missed out on that. But still, final race of the season. Sometimes your whole entire goal for the drivers that aren't in the championship four is just carry the momentum, get a good finish here in the last race, so you can pull that into the next season. And for a lot of these drivers, it is all about that consistency. As this, like I noted on, this is an expansion of the Cup Series that runs Saturday nights that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. They wanted a truck series. This came out as there goes Smith into the wall. Excuse me, that was actually going to be Trevor Earhart into the wall, losing ground and losing quickly on all this speed. And I got to say, Zach, scary moment for everyone that was up in the top 15.
Yeah, that was a big moment. That was very similar to what happened to Jonathan Smith there. Caught the ball only entering the 3, and you do that, you immediately go straight backwards with the momentum style racing that these trucks have. Lower horsepower, takes a lot of time to get that speed built back up. So unfortunate for Trevor Earhart, he's already got pushed back now. After he was starting to move up just a little bit from where he started at 14th. Now going to be slided back here in 22nd.
And he continues to have issues on the outside wall. Some other drivers that are trying to rebound and have a decent run here. The 6'6" of Gregory Shaw, he's got himself a gaggle of cars behind him, being led by Max Foner. Then you got Thomas Walter, Christopher Norris, Carl Pooler, as well as Jesse Thordick, all involved in this group of drivers. As we've seen it, we've talked about it all season long here, Zach. These drivers are relentless against one another. They don't care that they're racing back here for top 20. That practically is a victory for themselves, and they're willing to scrap against one another, and that sometimes brings out yellows that we're not expecting to see.
No, for sure. It definitely can get a little scrappy back here as these guys are battling hard here in the last race of the season, trying to get everything they can out of these race trucks, as you can see this. But tell you what, up front now, the battle's heating up too. As Vincent Sora, he's finally got to the inside back to Mark Whitley, who's been running this different line, really right there where Mark Whitley's been running. Vincent Sora was able to get there this time, but now going to slide back a little bit. So interesting line here for Whitley, almost a defensive line there, not allowing him to try to get to that outside quarter panel.
And also you can see on the top right in our quarter panel in the rearview mirror a little dash of white. That's going to be Kyle Rochelle that's trying to stay right on the back bumper of the 15 of Vincent Sora that we're riding on with. And Sora doing his best. And then also further back of that's Danny Cochran, Loveland, and also Colleen Smith. Ethan Smith, that is, all for the top 7. Keeping it within a second and a half of one another, but it's our top 3 that are within 0.3 of one another that are really keeping the pressure high. And Zach, we saw that of Brian Johnson. He was showing us the taming of the turns here at Atlanta, that transition from full throttle to a little bit of letting off into these corners. It seems like we finally have gotten to that aspect of racing here at Atlanta.
Oh, we definitely have. These trucks are starting to slip and slide around. I see our leader, Mark Whitley, have a big slide. Same for Vincent Sora there. So everybody starting to lose the grip and really try to find it. Is Kyle Rochelle there in that third spot. He's looking pretty strong behind Vincent Sora. Got to say, he may be the strongest looking truck as he's able to stay right tucked up behind that 15 constantly. So watch out for that 21 machine there, as Ethan Smith is now got by Brandon Colley, who seems to be struggling. I don't know if this is a strategy play by Brandon Colley. Maybe save a little tire here, let everybody go forward. But it seems to be struggling right now as, again, Vincent Sora ducking out. It's going to let Kyle Rochelle possibly get to the outside. But no, side draft lets Vincent Sora get side by side.
Aggression level from the 15 is going to be at the quarter panel, still trying to run. But it's going to be Kyle Rochelle that's going to be giving the draft help to the 77 on the straightaways. So Sora has got to make this pass now, or he might be in a little bit of a troublesome spot where the 21 is going to be trying to make the pass. Now it's side by side for second. Kyle Rochelle kind of just stuck with hoping that Mark Whitley and the 21 can start moving together on the straightaways, as the 15 still lingering and trying to come back up and finds enough space, almost bringing out some contact between our second and third place runners.
Yeah, I think he's happy that Kyle Rochelle there lifted a little bit for him, as Vincent Sora was sliding up in there, and I that was about as close as I would have tried to make that, Sam, because 21 laps in, one incident here, and you could very well be put way farther back here. They do have that one fast spare like we bring up, but man, just you don't want to be using that this early, and you don't want to be losing this track position.
Mark Whitley going to be extremely close to the outside wall. That's going to be another factor to watch out here the longer that we go on. Who wants to risk getting so close to that outside wall? Also, will we start to see drivers start to tighten up on the exit of the corner, as Vincent Sora now on the better end of the side-by-side racing, coming across the line. It's going to be Mark Whitley leading that lap, but only by a nose as Vincent Sora continues to keep the pressure on. Zach, the way that these drivers are racing, we were kind of talking to some of the drivers. We were also talking to Brian Johnson, getting a sense of what the fuel run was going to be like for these drivers. Expected to see green flag pit stops during this first stage. Again, that first stage ends at the end of lap 55. The way that we're seeing our front two racing, it's looking like they're going to have to come into pit road and most likely are going to take tires.
Oh, they definitely are. I think the way they're driving right now, they're throwing the tire game out of the window because 23 laps in, these guys racing side by side like this, I'd be worried about the tire wear. I think this is telling me they're going aggressive. They're probably going to be seeing these guys pit around lap 30, 35 here for this stage if you're going to be taking tires. So I'd expect that to happen here in the next 7 to 10 laps here, man. It's going to get wild here with the strategies. But if Vincent Sora can get ahead of Mark Whitley, it'll really allow him to decide what he wants to do. But if he stays here in second, he may go for the undercut.
Right now, that's going to be coming across the line now. Looking at the driver's best times compared to what the times they're running. They're running about that of 1.7 seconds off of their best lap time, which is usually around the window. You start to think drivers going to come into pit road as Mark Whitley and Vincent Sora both get a little bit sideways out of the corner as they're racing down the backstretch, continuing to stay side by side. And what was interesting, Zach, I talked to all of our Championship 4 drivers. I asked them a couple of questions, just like how Brian did as well. We both asked different questions. Luckily, that turned out with us, without us communicating on that faction. But I asked the strategy. What was going to be the goal for all 4 of these drivers going into this race? And for that of Vincent Sora, for Mark Whitley, even also for that of Ethan Smith, it was get up front, race as aggressively as possible, and work as hard as you can for each position to make sure you've got that fresh air and you're up front leading this thing at the end. It was only that of, Brandon Colley that went with the strategy of, I just want to beat these guys. It wasn't I need to be aggressive. It's, I'm going to beat them if I'm in first or if I'm back in 15th. Whatever strategy I need to do to be ahead of them to win the championship, that is what I'm going to do. So the one, as we've seen, a lot more passive. We'll see if it works out here as we're going into the longer run.
It does seem a lot more passive. I tell you what, Mark Whitley, he's not getting passive. He's really slipping and sliding. Almost 2 major incidents now with Vincent Sora coming off of 2 is his tires are starting to go away here, Sam. But he's holding on to the lead. He's running that defensive line. With him running that middle groove like that, he's not allowing them to jump up to the quarter panel on the exit or on the entry. And he's saying, take the bottom there. Just go ahead and try to see if you can pass me down low there. And it's so much tougher to make the pass there as Vincent Sora had to slide back to third here. Now Kyle Rochelle going to be the one trying to make the pass.
Just put a little bit of bait, trying to tease them, get the drivers to maybe get a little bit more aggressive. And when they're down low, they got to be careful of possibly, just turning too much, burning more of that tire rubber. And Kyle Rochelle, Mark Whitley almost touching one another into the entry of turn 3. And it's the 21. He almost was able to clear, but coming out of the corner, here comes that run from Mark Whitley.
Yeah, you can see that outside line is so good. The bottom wave rolls so well on entry and center. They pull forward on that shorter way around, but that outside line with the runoff that you can carry and the way you can side draft back on that quarter panel right as they come off the exit, it really slows them down. They're going to be making contact here, almost big slide, and that's what I'm talking about. Whitley's really loose there, and so is Rochelle. That could have been the same thing that happened to Sora, but man, luckily those two barely make, if any, contact there, no damage on their sides.
With slight contact, the 21 now going to be faltering back to the battle for 4th place after trying to battle for the lead just a half a lap ago. Now it's going to be Mark Whitley, Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran now going to be moving up to 3rd place. James Loveland, though, you're right on board with, up to 4th. James Loveland, who we saw Saturday night, trying to find himself a way to get into the playoffs for the NAISCC Cup Series. Not able to do so, came up shy. But here tonight, going to be trying to go for a win as we head down and watch the battle for the lead. We head down to pit road. Brian Johnson, what do you got for us?
Well, I've been listening to the team radio of Vincent Sora here for about the past 15 laps here, ever since he got to the back bumper of Mark Whitley and trying to get around him. And right now, very frustrated with his situation right now. He knows he's faster than Mark Whitley. Mark Whitley is, he's running that higher lane, very, very loose. And, Vincent just can't seem to get around him on the bottom. Hopefully he can maybe try to find some grip in other areas of the track. But Vincent Sora extremely frustrated right now. and you know, hopefully he can just stay patient. Got to remember, we do have green flag pit stops coming up here at some point before the stage. Stage is at 55. These guys can only go about 49 laps, so I'd have to imagine green flag pit stops would be coming up here in a few laps.
Now we are expecting those pit stops, and Zach, we also saw quite a couple of scares there. As Brian was talking, we saw Loveland hold on after he got loose. We're now watching some of the battling that's going on in the middle of the pack, with seeing the 94 of that of Sean Hutstetler, as well as Cody Reed ahead, and Tyler Dengler racing with one another. But I gotta say, up front, it's certainly, yes, it's kind of been deja vu the way they're racing back and forth. But you could just tell those slides, they're getting a little bit bigger, a lot more dangerous to the outside wall, closer to one another. And that means that we're getting pretty close to these drivers needing to come into pit road for sure. And also, they got to be careful not just to wipe each other out.
Yeah, gotten pretty close. Vincent was back on the inside of him there for a couple laps again, and couldn't get it done. It just, you get there, and then you have to let the tires cool back down to get enough grip to be able to fight side by side there long enough. If he can clear, I think the 15 pulls away. He looks like he's so much quicker. He gets right to the back bumper, but just cannot get it done in the center of the corner. It's so tough. It's so frustrating. You know, Brian Johnson talked about that frustration building up. This is what you can't let cloud your mind, though. You gotta keep working that driver. Keep making him work those rear tires, and the more Mark Whitley slides, the more advantage Sora will have to be able to try to get clear of him entering the next corner.
Yeah, another thing we're going to bring up, and when we're talking about tempers heating up, we'll also bring up the temperature of the track and as well ambient temperature, because these drivers, I mean, we're looking at all the drivers right now. Yes, we're on board with the 00 of Ethan Smith and him challenging and trying to figure out how to get by the one of Collie, but Zach, the track temp, 113 degrees, and also up front for the lead, potentially sliding up ahead as we're going to move up there. Vincent Soares so close behind Danny Cochran, Kyle Rochelle. They're slipping and sliding behind them.
Oh, and I'll tell you exactly what happened is Danny Cochran checks up there for his teammate Vincent Sora, and when you lift off the gas, it unloads that race car, slamming it down the front end, and when you're already loose, that'll really make it even more loose. Great save by Cochran there on these old 35-lap-old tires here to save that down the back straightaway. Atlanta, it's hard enough driving through the corners. It's very tough even driving on the straightaway with old tires, and you can see an example of he had his hands full.
Atlanta is striking. Again, 113 is the on-track temperature, only 66 ambient temperature, so it's just the sun baking on this course, and the drivers roaring on it that are making this track so hot, slick, and luckily the 2, the 21, and the 56 still alive. But the question is, when will they come to pit road? We're now entering that window. A couple of drivers have already come in. Jonathan Smith, who's caught up in an incident in lap 2, is now in pit road getting service done. Gregory Shaw, one of our more aggressive drivers, already has come into pit road about a lap ago, and other drivers are soon to be signaling when they're going to be coming in, as we watch the 2 of Danny Cochran, a driver that we thought, Zach, had a great opportunity to make it to our Final Four, but just came up short last week.
Yeah, just coming up a little bit short for him was unfortunate as we look back at last week's winner there, Thomas Walter. Danny Cochran wishes he would have been in victory lane there to push himself forward into that Final Four, but not going to have a chance in this season. He'll have to come back for season number 2. Is right here. Look, Foner and Walter both on pit road, but Foner hits the cone. That's going to be a penalty most likely for the 51 machine. Unfortunate for him. This is going to be interesting. Do they take a set of tires? Because what I'm starting to think is, as he misses the box too, is our top leaders, they're stretching it so far here, Sam, that I'm thinking they may do fuel only. They may not take a set of tires here due to the fact that they can almost get to that stage. They're going to be about 5 laps short here, and if they could do that, they'll take fuel only, save a set of tires there for when the stage comes out.
Well, that was one of the things that I was trying to think of. If you can stretch it long enough and you just take tires, yes, you're running about 2 seconds slower than the rest of the field. With the amount of laps, though, that will be left, you won't be going a lap down, most likely, unless you pit extremely early, and then those other drivers that got fresh tires just run you down. It's going to be close on really if you go a lap down or not, but I think it's worth the risk to save a set of tires, especially because we know that aggression level just ramps up after the stage is done.
Completely agree. I think saving a set of tires is just going to be a smart thing to have in your back pocket. You don't want to ever get beat by that tire strategy, but remember, stage points, yeah, some drivers out here might want to maximize their points here tonight, but points don't matter. It's finishing order at the end of this race. The third stage out of the book is Mark Whitley. Big slide again. He's almost into the wall. Man, what a catch. That could have been detrimental to his race there and damage to the right side, but he kept it out the wall.
Well, if you're playing a drinking game, drinking some apple juice, that is a lot of danger that we've seen from the 77 of almost getting into the outside. Well, the amount of times that we're going to say almost for the 77 with how aggressive he usually is racing, I would not be surprised if somebody's drinking too much apple juice here tonight. 40 laps in, we're all coming up to 15 laps to go here in stage number 1. It's Mark Whitley, Vincent Soar, Kyle Rochelle, your top 3, and they're kind of in their own small pack pulling ahead. Then it's Danny Cochran, James Loveland going to be finding them in 4th and 5th, and those other final 4 contenders battling for 5th for that of 6th place. It's going to be that of Collie, and as well Ethan Smith is into pit road. It's Vincent Soar and Danny Cochran coming up to 15 laps to go in the stage.
We'll have to see what type of strategy is pulled here. Is it just a splash of fuel here, or is it a tire change? I would like to think it's a splash of fuel here for these guys' sake, because I think that's going to be the right strategy to have as it sort of slides into his box here. We'll see if they jack the right side up. They do. This is an interesting call here, Sam. I don't know if I like this.
Well, it's one of those things, right? You're doomed if you do, and you're doomed if you don't. If right now for Vincent Sora, he's also might be thinking of track position. We've seen from Brandon Colley and Ethan Smith, they struggled to really pass the drivers ahead of them. They kind of got to a plateau point where they could not gain any more ground. That could be an issue for Vincent Sora that he's concerned about. Track position is more important, so he's taking tires now.
That could very well be the factor, and we've stayed green so far. If it does stay green after that stage break, from what we've seen here so far, the racing seems like that it'll work out for him. But man, I just have that worry of what Mark Whitley, what the other drivers like Ethan Smith and Brandon Colley may pull off here. I think if they're there in their boat, you cannot take tires here. Why waste a set of tires for 15 laps? That's a tough break, because you're going to be throwing another set on here when that stage caution comes out.
You're seeing the drivers. There's Thomas Walter, Fresh Rubber getting by. That is Sean Hudstutler and others. And we're starting to see drivers coming in, taking sets of tires. Most of the field taking a set of tires. I think the only, 2 or 3 drivers have not taken a set that have come to pit road already. That's been Tyler Dangler and as well Trevor Earhart. Earhart kind of surprised by that, and also surprised he did not decide to just come in pit road and use a fast repair after getting into the pit wall. But drivers continue to race on. Again, we're now coming up closer to 10 laps to go. This is even better for Mark Whitley and Kyle Rochelle and the rest of that group. What that's going to be putting, I think, for Vincent Sora, this is putting him in a much better position of potentially having the lead on the restart when we get this stage break.
Yeah, also, I think he'll also most likely have his teammate Danny Cochran there who pitted with him. I think that's kind of the goal, maybe put a few cars between him and Mark Whitley, because we've seen Whitley get the lead there quickly off the bat, and there comes Ethan Smith now, our next championship contender to hit pit road. We'll see what he does for tire strategy here. We'll see if they jack it up, but man, I gotta think these guys are not going to do that, because 10 laps to go. I just don't see the advantages of taking a set of tires.
Oh no!
Go to the box.
Splits through his box, and you see that it's going up. Tires for the 00. I think for a lot of these drivers, they just were not patient enough. I think if anything, of all our Championship 4 drivers, that Colley might be the only one. And speaking of Brady Colley, into pit road and almost gets into the pit wall. Mistake coming into pit road.
Oh no, Brandon Colley, that's one thing he did not want to see happen. And we'll have to see if there was any speeding issue. I don't think there will be, but man, he was so close to pit entry there, and I think even did he slide through the box? No, he got it perfectly stopped there. So luckily for his sake, he gets it in the box well. But that was definitely a flash there. And look, yeah, fuel only for the one machine.
And right when the one leaves, the 77 into pit road, and he might be caught speeding. Mark Whitley was very deep locking up those tires. We're going to have to wait and see if that's confirmed, but that was a very aggressive pit entry for the driver that was in the lead.
Man, oh man, this is wild to see here. Mark Whitley cannot be making that mistake. We'll see, because if they jack this car up here and then sit there for 40 seconds, which I don't think they'll be jacking up anyways, due to I think it's going to be fuel only. But if he does not leave there quickly, yes, he does. He got it slowed down. What a job by him there, as they're going to pull off pit road here. No tires and just fuel.
And also, James Loveland going to do this very same thing. So we're starting to see a complete divide on the strategy calls. Who wanted tires, who didn't. Vincent Soar, Danny Cochran wanting the track position over an extra set of tires, which could be the winning move and championship move here just in the first 45 laps of racing here at Atlanta. But now it's a time to see. Will we see a yellow? That could be another factor that could change things up. Is currently still out on track. Cody Reed, Carl Pooler, and that of Martin Morales Jr. still need to come into pit road.
This is interesting strategies being played, man. With how long the 15 and the 2 waited to pit there, I just think they should have pitted earlier if they're going to pull this strategy, because if you're going to do that, you could possibly try to caught a few guys a lap down by jumping out so far ahead of them and pitting so early that you had the tire advantage for so long that you had such a big gap, and then they take only fuel, and then it works out for you there. So, yeah, interesting with the strategy here. We're going to see how that works out for these guys. But one set used by the 15 and 2, while the other championship contenders, they elect to not take tires.
But Zach, right now, of the drivers that have already come into pit road, Vincent Sora is in second place. There's just one more driver before he gets that lead position. Well, Mark Whitley is back in 6th place. Same for that of Brandon Colley. They're all the way back here. Ethan Smith on fresh rubber, trying to run these drivers down. Smith could be even ahead of Mark Whitley by the end of this stint. Yes, they've used that they already used that set of tires, but again, it could be track position that is more important at the end of the day. And the 77's now putting himself in that track position where he's got to deal with lap traffic once we get this stage break. We still wait for Martin Morales to come into pit road, and we do have note our first DNF of the day. That's going to be Alexander Light, the 13. He is done already.
It's unfortunate. He was running right in that top 10, man. That was his best run of the season so far, and now it's gone up in smoke, it seems, as he's put it behind the walls. Morales Jr. there, he hits pit road. That's the last of the folks to hit pit road. So Vincent Sora now going to take control of the lead with his teammate Danny Cocker there in second. But yeah, like you said, Mark Whitley is dropping back. You're completely right. I mean, even Brandon Colley is actually starting to close up to him, as they both did the same type of stop on fuel only. But Ethan Smith on the newer set of tires, he's closing in, got by Colley. Now he'll be closing up to Mark Whitley. The other thing that he's got to focus on is this. There's another group of drivers like Kyle Rochelle who's coming too. So if they get ahead of them, that's more positions lost, like you said, and that's track position that you definitely are going to want back at some point.
Yeah, I know. It's always that playing game of what type of strategy do you really want to put yourself in? Do you want to be aggressive and take the tire to have that track position, always be ahead? Or do you want to go with a more passive approach, putting yourself in trouble, but knowing that you've also going to have a safety net of if a lot of cautions come out, you've got an extra set of tires to get your track position later on, as here comes the 21 making the pass on Ethan Smith and trying to, as Ethan Smith tries to get by the 77, and just like that, Mark Whitley about to lose 2 positions in a blink of an eye. The 77 now going to be all the way back to 8th place and could be losing even more positions.
Yeah, this is not playing the way he wants to see it there for sure. I mean, you want to see, if you're Mark Whitley, closer to that 15 for sure. I mean, Brandon Colley have elected to do this. But I tell you what, if we do see a caution at some point, we've already used the last set of tires for the other group of drivers, they're going to be kicking themselves that they did not save a set there for themselves if we did get a caution. So, man, it's a big what if. That's what you play here a lot of times with the tires and the set of tires that we have left as a driver. But man, you always feel like you could have done something better. Right now, aggressive is what Vincent Sora went. We'll see if it plays out for him and Ethan Smith.
As they continue to race around, it's going to be the 15, Vincent Sora leading the race, coming out of turn number 4, coming to the what would be the white flag of stage 1. And across the line, Zach, this has got to be feeling good for the young kid of Vincent Sora. He's been up front, comes in. If you look at consistency, it's all that of Vincent Sora. He's number 1 in wins with 5 wins. He's number 1 in top 5s with 13 top 5s. And he's number 1 in top 10s with 14 top 10s out of his 17 starts. He has been Mr. Upfront Clutch, top of the points and most of this season. And coming out of turn number 4, going to be leading the race after stage 1.
What a drive for him there, and the strategy on point to get the stage win. We'll see if it sets him up for a good finish in this race. Danny Cochran are going to come along in second. Thomas Walter third. John Forbes fourth. And Aaron Kralik going to round out that top 5. As it looks like Mark Whitley. Looks like Brandon Colley even jumped him. So that's a huge factor there, Sam. That is going to be major for Brandon Colley, as he's able to jump in front of Mark Whitley.
What was even more scary, Mark Whitley almost also got passed by 2 other drivers that could have put the 77 outside of the top 10 at the end of the day. So having that extra set of tires, he's playing the long game, but in the short mindset, you got to be worrisome for the 77 that's going to be back in traffic, back with drivers that he's not been racing all night long. And now we get to take a break. And for us, we're going to step aside for a quick moment. It's Vincent Sora up front in first. Then we have to go all the way back to 7th, where you find that Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley in 8th, and Mark Whitley in 9th. That's where our top 4 lie. But for us, we'll come back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for that of the Southern Sports Media Championship race at Atlanta. My name is Sam Zyer. With me is Zach Hall, our pit reporter being that of Brian Johnson, as the drivers are having fun knocking the cone around. And as well, we have Robert Moyer running productions here tonight. Zach, we got to see our stage break. Vincent Sora was up front. He got where he wanted to be up front. He had his teammate of Danny Cochran right next to him. But strategy call throws another wrench into here. John Forbes, a non-playoff, non-championship 4 contender, is currently in the lead after going with fuel only.
Yeah, Forbes taking tire under that green flag stop. Alexa had to take it here at the stage. So interesting strategy there to play. So we'll see how that plays out for him. But now the drivers that took a set during that first stop here in the green flag segment of that stage, and they took another set here, they're only going to be left with 1 set left in here pit road. They only need 1 more stop to make it to the end of this race. So that's what they're planning on using it for. But I tell you what, guys like Brandon Colley, drivers like Mark Whitley there, those two especially, due to their championship positions. Man, Whitley's got a long way to come back from 13th. Brandon Colley also there at 9th. They lost track position here. But if we get a caution at some point where these other drivers have took their last set, it's going to play right into their hands. It's going to get wild at that point. But right now, Vincent Sora is taking control with his strategy.
I also want to give note that of Alexander Light as well as Jonathan Smith, both drivers officially out is the 13 of Light. The 32 still on pit road, but he's been on pit road for over 20 minutes. We'll see if he gets back out on track. Drivers up front, they're getting prepared and ready as this is it. Your season is now on the line. 4 drivers made it to this point. Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley, Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley. They battle it out. They had all 17-point races, but tonight it's not about points. There's no more stages. It's about finishing out this 125-lap race and making sure you're the one ahead of the other 3 drivers. As the pace truck pulls off, it's time for us to go green once again at the Southern Sports Media Championship race at Atlanta. It's John Forbes, Vincent Sora, and a little bit of contact from the 00 on the 11 on the outside, but it's the teammates making it work and making the inside charge.
As tires spun there for John Forbes. What I'm worried here for Vincent Sora's sake is he had to start on the bottom there. And usually as the bottom car and he was second place, you cannot beat the leader to the line on the inside lane. He did do that. We'll have to see if he does get a penalty for that. I'm not sure how they worked that out with clearing that, but man, hopefully for the 15th sake, no issues there.
No penalties are given, but right now they continue to race on. It's been Sora, Danny Cocker, and John Forbes trying to hold off that of Kyle Rochelle, and it's that of Ethan Smith up to 4th on the outside. But I'm expecting the teammates up front. They're going to work with one another. It is all about the team game now. When earlier in the season, when Danny Cochran took out Vincent Sora for the win at Las Vegas, it was all about pride. Now it's about making sure your team gets a championship win. But the next closest of our championship 4, it's this 00, Ethan Smith. You could call him the underdog coming into this season. Coming into tonight's race. But he's surprised us each and every week. He's grown every race during the playoffs, has 1 win at Nashville Super Speedway, and trying to get another win here at Atlanta. Or if anything, just make sure he gets a championship. But he's got to hold off and hold on as the 77 of Mark Whitley is on the charge.
The charge indeed, already up almost to the top 5. Yes, he does there. Sliding past Kyle Rochelle, now up into the top 5 with that damage. And the 77, man, 3-star 13th there, up the 5th. That is, that's amazing to see. He already got by Brandon Kiley also on the 1, so now just has to get past Ethan Smith. They will only have Vincent Sora next up there, who's leading the way.
Well, if we're basing it all off that first stint that we had before green flag pit stops, Mark Whitley and Ethan Smith were the most aggressive drivers utilizing their tires. Now going to be 4th and 5th in positions. I'm wondering, with that aggression, now with Mark Whitley no longer being up front, he's in the dirty air. How are these tires going to work? As you see the bobbing and weaving try to set up into turn number 3 in a nice deep move at 77 into the inside, and Ethan Smith dropping back to 5th.
What a pass from Mark Whitley there. He set that one up, took the look low. Ethan Smith looked to block it. He went back high. Ethan Smith covers that off. He goes back low. So great job by Mark Whitley there with the racecraft to get that done. Now Kyle Rochelle follows him through on the 00 machine as they slide up past Mark Whitley up to 4th, Kyle Rochelle up to 5th.
And we continue to just see Ethan Smith, as well as you see the 1 in the white, yellow, red, and blue, going to be trying to make the charge on the inside. Ethan Smith late block, the 00 really trying to make sure he does not falter any more positions. But Collie, great run for the 1, going to be at the quarter panel. Got to be careful not to take each other out as they head into turn number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if Kylie was too happy with that late closing of the door. He gave a little bit of a tap there actually in the corner, so we'll see what he does here. He turns up under him on the exit of the corner. Great run for the 1 here off the corner exit, trying to take that 6th position and catch up to that 77 machine. Well, they are battling for a championship with Vincent Sora right now, trying to drive away. You know, the big thing also we got to look at, Vincent Sora has his 2 teammates as Mark Whitley's now making a pass on one of those guys. That's Aaron Kralik. So Aaron Kralik now from that team is getting past, but he'll have his other side kick of Danny Cochran there.
And right now, going to be wondering how are the drivers going to be working continuously. You just note on teammates to watch out for. We've also got Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, 1-2. Danny Cochran, we've seen him be willing to make some very aggressive moves, but it's Ethan Smith that I'm worried about here, Zach. He's now on the high side going through 3 and 4, but he's got a train of drivers that seem to be aggressive, hunting and hounding to get any position possible.
Yeah, he took off really well there, and he had a really good run in that first stage. Just not going well for him here to start off this run. So dropping back as Loveland's got by. He's going to have Moniz there. Also Thomas Walter, the 19th Tyler Dingler, and also I believe the lap car of Trevor Earhart there, who's also coming up into the picture. So a lot of trucks coming up right here onto the back of the 00. He's got to be watching out here, trying not to lose too much track position.
Trying not to lose too much, and right now going to be being hounded by the 5. And I'm re-looking at the pit stop that the 00 had. I think for Ethan Smith, might have been just topping off with fuel, but his stop wasn't as long as everyone else's. I'm wondering if maybe the 00 decided not to go with tires, and that's why right now he's struggling to hold to every position possible here.
Yeah, he is dropping back, and I'm about to check that out for us, Sam. You know, he did pit later than the other group of Cochran and them. So yeah, actually no tires on that last stop. So yeah, that's really what has caused him to drop back this far. And you know, saving a set here, but it's an interesting time to save a set there when you could have saved it right before that stage.
And you knew the rest of the field was going to be in a similar spot of trying to stay up front. For John Forbes, it makes sense. He waited until like the very last moment coming to pit road. But for one of our championship Ford drivers at a stage break where you need to stay up front, going with this out of strategy, it's going to be difficult for him to try to get back into this thing. Might need a late caution to get back into the mixture. But up front, we move up to second for the battle there. It's going to be Danny Cochran, going to be hounded by that of Mark Whitley. Whitley up to third, and now trying to go for the pass for second place.
Well, deja vu here, except for Mark Whitley shuffled back to second here, or trying to take the second position from Danny Cochran as Vincent Sora leads. Kyle Rochelle coming into the picture also, but Danny Cochran trying to do his best here in the two and hold position. He had good long run pace. If the two can stay there for long enough, it's going to be tough for that 77 to get by. Also with the damage on the 77, it's going to be tougher and tougher as the run goes on, and he definitely had to use the most of those tires to get here. But I tell you what, with the way this run splits up, he has an extra set of tires left. He can go aggressive with the strategy and pit pretty early.
Yeah, and I was talking, we're talking about the damage for the 77. It might be difficult to see, but there is slight side damage that he got from brushing against the wall with all the times that he got loose, and as well, some side damage from making contact with Kyle Rochelle when they were battling for the lead coming to the end before those green flag pit stops. So Mark Whitley at a little bit at a disadvantage here, but just showing fresh tires enables the 77 to still be in the race. This gold and red and black Harpoons designs is still running well and has the championship in mind, trying to go for the gold.
Yeah, trying to go for the gold indeed he is, and he's trying everything. He's doing different lines, multiple different ways, trying to get runs. Barely stays clear of Kyle Rochelle as he ran that very top line, but holds onto that third position as he went to the inside of Cochran last time down here. He found out how hard it is to make that pass. As if you've seen Vincent Sorf try lap after lap on that bottom lane to make the pass on Mark Whitley, he got a little bit of a taste of his own medicine there.
Yeah, and for Mark Whitley, he's now going to pass two of the drivers here. He's got to first get by Danny Cochran, then try to get by Vincent Sora, and it is going to be a tall task. As we fall back to the battling that's going on for fifth place, you've got that of Collie in that of the white, yellow, red, and blue, and then you've also got in the V-Speed 56, that of James Loveland. For Brandon Collie, comes in, I would say third of our highest runners of our Championship 4, and that's where he runs. Currently is running from our Championship 4 is in fifth place, but third of the four drivers. He comes in tied with third in wins, with 2 wins this season for the one machine. He's got tied for second in top 5s, been consistent there with 9 top 5s. It's the top 10s. When he's not finishing up front, he seems to falter a little bit in the top 10s. Ranking of all the drivers with only 10 top 10s of the 17 starts this season. But I gotta say, he, like I noted on at the start of qualifying, it's been the finishes for this one. He has struggled at the mile-and-a-half race, has been caught up with misfortunes. He's got to hope that luck has changed coming into the night's race.
We got to see what he's got here too, man. Can he run back up into position here? Right now, Mark Whitley, I think that struggle point is starting to kick in with that damage as he almost had Rochelle making the pass on him, but he was just able to clear him there on the exit of 2. Can Brandon Collie, work his way up here? That's the question we got in mind. He, like you said, the finishes haven't been there for him in the mile-and-a-half. It just really hasn't been. He's got to get it done here tonight if he wants to win this championship. Right now, running 5th, he's got some work to do.
We got 3 of our Championship 4 drivers in the top 5. Might be wondering, where's Ethan Smith? Ethan Smith's back in 13th. Did not take tires underneath our stage 1 break, so that's why he's faltered, lost a little bit of time. But for more news on what's going on down in the garage, we go down to pit road. Brian Johnson, what do you got for us?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to talk about Ethan Smith being back in 13th. Why is he back in 13th? Well, you're right, Sam. He didn't take tires at the stage. He took tires towards the end of stage 1, and when he came in for the stage, just decided to take fuel. So that's why we're seeing him in the back there. But that does allow him. He's on that 2 sets of tires left strategy. Same with Mark and same with Brandon Collie. Whereas Vincent Sora, he's only got 1 set left. So if we see a caution at any point in the second stage, Vincent Sora is going to be at a pretty big disadvantage. as well as the rest of his team. Danny Cochran and Aaron Kralik, they're all on that same strategy. So they're really looking to see this race go green, whereas pretty much the other three Final Four guys are looking for a caution, trying to work that tire strategy in. As we see right now, Vincent Soares, he got that clean air and is up front, and we're watching Kyle Rochelle pass Mark Whitley there for third place. So I think these guys are going to need a caution or a really, really good green flag pit stop to get around the top two guys at this point.
They certainly are going to have to try their best, as right now it's Mark Whitley who's under pressure for that third place position. Thanks, Brian, again, our pit road reporter here tonight, and has been our pit road reporter, and also comes in for taming the turns in our pre-race show segment. Big thanks to Brian Johnson for being pit road reporter for half this season. But Zach, the battling's going on, and for that, I was talking about the strategies for a lot of these drivers. Vincent Sora, his whole entire mentality of the strategy for tonight's race was try to get to the clean air and set sail, and he has certainly done that. As Mark Whitley, that is under pressure, he's going to watch out as they continue to stay side by side between the 21 and the 77. It's now giving signs for that of Brandon Colley back in fifth, slowly close in on that gap.
Yeah, Brandon Colley's liking what he's seeing there with those two battling, but he isn't liking what he's seeing with the two of the 15 of Vince Sora and the two of Danny Cochran. Now they're pulling away out there out front. It's not setting up well for that, but he does have that extra sail along with Ethan Smith and Mark Whitley, like Brian brought up, where Vincent Sora does. It's not. So if this race plays out, with some yellow flags, it's going to be a wild decision for these guys. But right now, you can see Colley trying his best to close this gap down. It means everything to him. My question is here, with these guys having an extra set of tires, they have a little bit more leeway of what kind of strategy they want to play here. Do they go early? Do they go late? I really don't know what the question is. I know Mark Whitley, he's probably going to be wanting to get that damage fixed up, as that's got to be hindering that 77.
Well, for these drivers, we're on lap 82. We're watching the battling from that of Colley's perspective of that of Kyle Rochelle and Mark Whitley, as Whitley finally able to conquer on that pass. But this is virtual. We're live streaming on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on our YouTube page. And because of that, this is what's different from normal broadcasting. We've got the chat. We've been talking about strategies, what to do. Ethan Smith now into pit road. This is where he needed to come into pit road to get fresh tires here, Zach. And for the chat down below, do you like this strategy from the 00, and could this win?
This is going to be an interesting one here. Remember, he had that extra set saved. He comes down here early into this strategy, and this is going to get wild. It's 41 laps to go there for him. Well, technically it's going to be 42 for him. So 42 laps to the end. He can do it on fuel. He's within that window, so I wouldn't be surprised with that happening there. We might see a few guys, maybe Mark Whitley catches a glimpse of that and says, you know what? I've held Kyle Rochelle off long enough here, and I've been riding, dropping back. I might hit pit road here also. The only thing they will have to worry about is trying to get back on that lead lap if the caution does come out, so they don't get trapped there.
Yeah, that's the big thing for Ethan Smith. He had fallen back so much that he's got to overwork himself to even try to unlap and then try to gain up a big enough lead. We're not expecting the most of the rest of the field to come to pit road until around lap 100 to 105 to make their final stop, especially for Vincent Sora and Danny Cochran. They're probably going to be trying to stretch it out to maybe out to lap 110 if they can get that far, but that's going to be their plan for most of them. But Ethan Smith, like I said, very odd strategy that he went with. Back to 20th now, but on the freshest of tires, and now going to fly around this course, trying to gain all the positions back and also try to unlap himself.
He's going to be a man possessed here, trying to go forward, get everything he can. Like you said, he was so far back that this has put him in a bigger hole to climb out of now. So we'll see what this 00 is made of, as he's now, like you said, one lap down. And with where Vincent Sora is at on track right now, 3 and 4, he's got a long way to go before he unlaps himself. It's going to be a while. So, unfortunately for Smith, this strategy, he kind of needs it to play out green.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think if before he came into pit road, was banking on this race to possibly have a yellow before he came in, and then it got to a point where he was losing too much time on those older tires, had to come into pit road. I want to give a big thanks to everyone that is watching here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. This is the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Southern Sports Media Championship race here at Atlanta. Thank you for joining us Monday Night Racing. You've been here for 18 weeks of racing action, and I cannot believe that we're here. And right now, it's all on the line. Who's going to get the championship? Who are you rooting for to get the win or win from our championship four? Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley, Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley are your championship four. Who do you got? Who do you think's gonna win it? My name is Sam Dyer. I've got that of Zach Hall with me. And then we also got Pit Road reporting that of Brian Johnson with Robert Moyer Jr. running productions. Zach, it is now crunch time. We're finding ourselves about 10 to that of 15 laps to go. They've got to be putting themselves in a spot to be prepared for this green flag pit stop.
It's got to be on the back of their or the forefront of their mind, really. Here, what's coming up? The pit stop is looming. We see mistakes there. We see drivers making little ones here and there. You cannot do that coming down here to the end. Biggest thing for Vincent Sora in the back of his mind, he's opened up about a 2.2 second gap back to Mark Whitley and about a 2.5 second gap back to Brandon Colley. That's got to make him feel good for coming down pit road. Can be a little bit more leisureful, can take a little bit less risk and get the pit road nice and easy.
And right now, as the drivers are racing on, you're starting to see the closing in. We knew Colley, Loveland, they were going to close in because they were waiting for this point. And the longer run is where Colley's been the fastest. And now going to be trying to make the charge on the inside over the 21. As these drivers are attacking, they're feeling the pressure. Well, you can also feel a little bit of vibration. Instead of hearing it, why not feel it with ButtKicker? Feel what you've been missing. Go use the promo code FreakyFast20 as here comes Brandon Colley into pit road. Surprise for the one. Use that promo code with get yourself a game or two for 20% off. But Zach, this is baffling in my mind. The one was flying and instead comes into pit road.
He was really picking the pace up. Maybe he felt like this is the time. He felt like maybe he was going to get held up here, possibly. Did not feel like this was going to be a critical time, so he comes to pit road here for the short pit. Got to remember, he's got a set left. I think this might be a good call from him. We'll see when the rest of them make it. It looks like Danny Cochran from the second position. He's coming down the pit road also. When does Vincent Sora flinch? That's going to be the question we all ask ourselves.
This is going to be Danny Cochran's final set of tires coming into pit road. Vincent Sora now going to be in a questionable spot. When does the 15 come in? The gap between first and second going to be 2 seconds currently. Vincent Sora's got to be careful because Mark Whitley, that last lap, was about a tenth faster.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. They are running quicker times than Vincent, so he cannot take too much of a chance here to wait too long because he actually is losing a little bit of time. You know, this is such a tough position to be in. He's looking back here, seeing Mark Whitley in that second spot. He's really focused on him. He might not even notice. Brandon Colley has hit pit road. That's going to have to be the question in my mind. You cannot lose sight of what's around you. If he waits too long, this could get interesting. And I tell you what, it looks like the gap is closing down even more and more.
It really is, and we were wondering about Ethan Smith. What strategy was his strategy going to work out? Well, he came into pit road for that of the 0-0 9 laps ago. Finds himself going to be about 2 seconds ahead as here comes that of Vincent Sora into pit road. But Ethan Smith only about 3 seconds ahead of Brandon Colley, and Colley is flying, catching up to the 0-0.
He is really starting to pick the pace up here in that one machine. He got those new tires. He's closing it down. And that just shows you how much time Ethan Smith lost, really, from not taking the tires at the stage. He had such a big gap that he lost there running around on the order tires that right now, Brandon Colley, he's right there, and his tires are much fresher, only about 2 seconds back.
And now Mark Whitley is in the catbird seat. He is the only driver of our Final Four that have not come into pit road. The rest of our Final Four, Zach, they're still trapped a lap down. Mark Whitley soon to be passed, but the pressure is on for these drivers. When do they want to come in? And as we're waiting for Mark Whitley to come into pit road, we bring up back from pit road Brian Johnson. It is chaotic up here in the booth. We don't know what's going on. We thought they were going to pit in the next 5 to 10 laps. Instead, they're coming in now.
Well, that was the original plan. Listening to Cochran Sora Racing Radio, their plan was somewhere between 95 and 100 to come down pit road, but we saw Brandon Colley come extremely early. I went and talked with those guys, and their plan was to come early and force the hand of everybody else to come down earlier than they wanted to, and sure enough, that worked. So, and right now, Brandon Colley's sitting on an extra set of tires. Vincent Sora has no more tires left. So one caution here, and everything turns upside down. But if this works out for Brandon Colley in his favor, that was a great call to make.
Oh boy, it's hectic on screen as Ethan Smith, that is Danny Cochran, Brian, and Collie all going to be on top of one another, and they're all just unlapping themselves. But in an instant there, Zach, we almost saw Ethan Smith's race be spun around by the put of the two.
And just like Brian said, don't want to see the caution if you're that 15. He's used that last set. He wants to see this thing go green to the end. Brandon Colley, though, putting the pressure on here, Sam. He's doing his best here to try to close it down as he has got right to the back bumper of Danny Cochran here along with Ethan Smith. Cochran have a little bit better tires than Colley, but man, he has closed the gap down. This is exactly what he wanted to do with the strategy.
Ali does not care. The goal, get the biggest lead possible from the other championship 4. If he needs to just push the 2 to get him out of the way, he'll do that. Does not want to see a yellow, but Ethan Smith, he tried his strategy out. Now going to be banking on a yellow. Vincent Sora now getting himself back on the lead lap. So now it's Mark Whitley. His hand about to be forced when he comes to pit road. No yellow has been thrown, but that's what the 77 wants to see.
I think that's what he's been waiting for, and he's trying to have the freshest tires possible here before he comes to pit road. He's ducking it low here coming off of 3. Doesn't go down that time, so maybe just a little bit of a line change there for him. But, man, Whitley continued on. It must be looking to come here in the next 2, I'd imagine, around lap 100.
We still have 3 drivers that have not come to pit road that still need to. Mark Whitley, our leader. You've also got that of Tyler Dengler and Cody Reed. But right now, Mark Whitley's got to be concerned because he's now going to be forced to stay high and let these other drivers go unless he gets dropped down now, unless he gets forced high once again. Zach, this is when the pressure's on as a leader that stays out and banks on a yellow. You could stay out too long where you won't have enough time to run down the rest of the field.
Yeah. This is an interesting strategy from him. He's kind of banking on a yellow, like you said. This is too long in my opinion. He's giving up way too much time. You see the field just scurrying by as everybody except for him and Cody Reed and Tyler Dingler have come to pit road. It's an interesting strategy to play, but man, Mark Whitley has so much to lose here by staying out. I wonder if it'll be this time because he's as low as I've ever seen him here in 3. Yeah, it looks like the tailpipes are flaring out. So yeah, he's going to come to pit road this time here on lap 100.
Finally coming in on lap 100. The latest a lot of these drivers were thinking going to be squirrely on those brakes, and kind of similar to the last time he came into pit road on his green flag pit stop, just very aggressive, trying to not lose any time possible. But Zach, it is now going to be a rundown. Who can catch up to that of Brandon Colley of our championship 4? Can Vincent Sora do it? He's got 3 lap pressure tires and now within a second of the 1 machine.
Yeah, he's closing it down, and the 1 here having trouble with the 2. That's his issue right now. He's been trying to make the pass here on Danny Cochran, everything in his bag of tricks to get it done. He's gone high, he's gone low. This time Cochran takes the bottom. This time Colley up high. We'll see the cross back over to the bottom here. Colley, though, definitely needs to get by this 2 if he wants to have a shot at this thing, because that 15 coming very, very quickly from behind. He's going to have the way fresher set of tires than these 2, and it's going to be an easy pass.
If you've ever watched F1 in the F1 championship, it was kind of similar to this, where drivers were trying to get a big advantage. It was Lewis Hamilton who got then held up by Checo. And right now, Danny Cochran is being the legend right now, holding off the 1 and giving that of Vincent Sora a chance to run down the 1 of Brandon Colley. This is it here, Zach. I mean, the pressure's on. The 2 has been doing a fabulous job. And now less than a second, less than a half a second, the 15 is on the charge. And the driver they're all going to keep their eyes on is the 77 of Mark Whitley. But he's all the way back to 13th, almost a full 20 seconds back from that of Colley.
Yeah, that's just too much in my opinion, Sam, for him to be able to claw back here. He's going to need some type of yellow flag to fly here for his chances to be improved here at any point here. But here it is. We're riding on board. Vincent Sora, this could be the pass for the championship here, Sam. This is him closing it down. What is Brandon Colley willing to do? That's the question. He said he'll use his truck and anybody else's truck to be able to win this championship. Will he get testy here with the 15? We'll see this time.
Hard block by the 1. Will he come up? Does not do a lazy block. Going to defend on the inside and pressure that of Vincent Sora to use up his tires on the outside. The 1's going to try to drift up, do as much as he can through the center of the corner. It's side by side for a championship. Little bit of rubbing, potentially out of the corner, but clear. It's Vincent Sora for the lead and through the back stretch. Zach, the call, we always touch on it. there's always the strategy of drivers that try to do an undercut. They pit early. Other drivers try to stretch it out as long as possible, but it's those that find that sweet middle ground that always find the strategy where they're just ahead enough from those drivers with fresher tires. It's Vincent Sora that found that sweet ground, and now he's in 4th place and trying to get by his teammate Danny Cochran, who is just going to get out of the way hopefully here, but we've seen these two have complications earlier in the season. We'll see if they cleaned it up as teammates here for the championship race.
And we've seen Las Vegas have some fireworks. I and everything expect the two here to be very gracious to the 15. I mean, he's got to know what's at stake for him here as they round past the start finish line. He gets to the inside. I think the much fresher tires also are just going to be such a big advantage here that he's just going to scurry on by, and there he does, clear for the lead. Well, not the lead yet, as Tyler Dingler still yet to pit in the 19 machine, but that is 2nd place and control of the championship. We'll have to see if Mark Whitley can make the charge, because I feel like he's our last guy with the opportunity at this thing stays green.
I mean, I talked to all 4 of the championship drivers, got their inputs about this race. Was there pressure for any of them? And everyone felt so calm, cool, and collective. For Vincent Sora, he said he was feeling great. He was super confident about his pace coming into the night. And some of the drivers, I also asked them, who was their biggest competitor? Who were they worried about? And for a lot of them, it was, everyone else. It was, all 4 of them have their strengths. But most of the drivers were saying either Mark Whitley or Vincent Sora. And right now, Vincent Sora is leading the championship run. Tyler Dangler has come into pit road. The 15 coming out of turn number 4 is going to take the lead and leading our championship forward. And also, Zach, I did a poll trying to see what the drivers themselves thought. Who did they think was going to win the championship here tonight? And the driver with the least amount of votes, it was the driver that's leading right now our race, Vincent Sora. But the driver on the move, it's Mark Whitley, up to 11.
Definitely an interesting poll there. I got to ask you guys, did they watch the season there since he got the lowest amount of votes? He definitely, in my opinion, most likely came in here, if not the favorite, definitely the 1A, 1B type favorite here is, man, he's had such a good season, especially just with the consistency. So many top 5s in that 15-10s. I mean, it's just been a great season nonetheless. If he can close out the championship, it's just going to put the cherry on top of it.
And you can see it on screen, riding on board with the red and gold 77 Harpoons design. Mark Whitley has some front right damage. Zach, we knew he was going to be racing so aggressive. He'd been flirting with that outside wall with fresh tires. Knowing how far back he was, he's gotten more damage and just putting even a bigger boulder on his shoulders. It just keeps on piling on. Mark Whitley has put himself in a spot where he now is forced to get a caution to come out if he wants the chance to win the championship. And we're coming to 15 laps to go when Vincent Sora crosses the line.
He got back into that wall a couple laps ago again, and he does have a fast spare still in his hand. He did not use that under the pit stop, so if there was be a caution where he can use that last set of tires he has, he does have the fast repair in the back hand to be able to use that. So that's going to be something he'll probably try to use here, but the damage is definitely going to take a toll on that car. It's right now just over 8 seconds back. It's running out of time for that 77 machine if he wants a chance in this.
And the other competitor, Collie, now going to be losing a spot to James Loveland, faltering back. I mean, Zach, we look at this season as a whole. It really was Vincent Sora and Danny Cochran 1-2 on track right now, but they were the heavy favorites at the start of this season in the first, you could say first 5 to 6 races. It was just Vincent Sora and Danny Cochran winning this season. And right now, just showing the strength that they had as we watch the battling currently. It's going on for 4th place.
Yeah, Brandon Colley giving up another spot here. Looks like he was trying so hard to get, I believe by that too, use the tires up a little bit, and he's dropped back now here to that 5th position. James Loveland, though, again, just showing when he comes down the tire wear, that guy is he's a tough hombre, man. He knows how to get it done and save those tires. So good job on him to drive himself back up here to the 4th position where he started tonight's race. But man, Seven's getting closer and closer in. I'm watching the lap times and trying to, just judge the delta between lap times. I'd say, Mark Whitley still closing in at a pretty fashionable rate here, about 7.2 seconds back. I mean, if he kept closing in this gap that he has right here, it would not be likely that he gained. But man, some laps he gains upwards to half a second, but we know how it works out. That starts to diminish as the run goes on.
Yeah, and honestly, that last lap could have been a little bit faster, but had a very major scare for the 77. Thomas Walter gets out of shape, which that's another factor to watch out for. The amount of aggression, from the first stint to now at this point, a lot of these drivers, they are on a slow, they came in pitting a lot later, so they're not trying to save their sets of tires. It is just go time, which means when you're getting more aggressive, that means you might be getting into the throttle a little bit quicker, getting a little bit more sideways, and the potential of a late yellow always looms. Because I know for Vincent Sora, Dan Cochran, they're going to hate this for me saying this, but the pattern that we've seen here, Zach, is at these 1.5 miles. We've only ran 2, but we have gone to overtime for both.
Yeah, that's a pattern they want to see broken here tonight. If you're the 50 and the 2 machine, no sets of tires in their pit boxes, they're going to be sitting ducks. I mean, I know there's a lot of drivers kind of in the same scenario as them, so they will have, a few drivers buffer the zone. But, man, Atlanta, you're looking at upwards of almost 2.5 seconds of fall off on old tires here. You're going to be a sitting duck here on a restart if that comes out. Vincent Sora, all he's looking for is a white flag because he knows that means this race will officially come to an end without a yellow flag. That's the biggest thing he's looking up to. He's definitely counting them down here second by second.
10 laps to go, and if you're looking for an advantage like we're seeing Vincent Sora have, go to Advanced Sim Racing. They are the hub to get yourself anything from that of your racing chassis to even just the best retail store for sim racing. From rigs, wheels, monitors, they've got you covered at Advanced Sim Racing, one of the biggest North American companies from that of 2020, and they continue to grow more and more. If you'd like to get 5% off from one of the best racing hubs out there, go to that Advanced Sim Racing and use the promo code FreakyFast5 to get 5% off. Zach, 9 laps to go now. Vincent Sora, all he wants is for this race to stay green and for Mark Whitley to stop closing in.
Yeah, last time by, Vincent Sora actually a 10th quicker than Mark Whitley as he was making a pass. That's one factor we got to factor in. He's got a group of 5 cars in between, 6 cars in between him and Vincent Sora. So he's really going to have to make quick work of them as now he's up to the 7th position with 8 to go here. We'll see what this lap time was by here for him this time is a 32.97. Vincent Sora, 33.05. So only a couple hundredths quick for Mark Whitley. That's not going to work. He's 7 seconds back. He's running out of time, and he's going to need some type of yellow flag to fly here.
Gonna need a yellow flag, and what group is gonna be around? If anything, it probably would be the group that Mark Whitley is around that he's trying to get by, but no yellow is thrown as we continue to stay green. 7 laps to go for Vincent Sora, and a season that, like I noted on, he's been the most consistent driver as we watch Mark Whitley, who was probably the second most consistent driver this season. He was second in wins with 4, had that of tied with second in top 5s with 9, tied for third in top 10s with 11. 77 has been a strong vehicle, and his biggest rival was that of Vincent Sora. I mean, we cataloged it throughout the season here, Zach, but the rivalry between Vincent Sora and Mark Whitley is one that is going to live for a long time here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Oh, for sure. That's what we're going to remember for sure for a long time. Unfortunately, I believe both those drivers are not going to be back here for next season. So it's something that we'll remember with the original season, and one that we'll definitely have tales of going into the next one of what a rivalry could be. And, man, they definitely put a show on here for us this season. It's been such a pleasure to call all this here. I just can't believe we're in the final 6 laps of this season.
6 laps coming out of turn number 4, 5 laps to go. Vincent Sora still having some lap traffic to get by. You see Mark Whitley trying to get by some of these drivers, but this is one of those things here, Zach, where you're hoping and banking that no incident happens. This is the melting pot. We've been talking about not wanting a caution. Can't have a caution for Vincent Sora or Danny Cochran where they're running because they don't have another set of tires to work with. But I'm looking at half the field also is in a similar spot where they don't have a set of tires to work with. If we get a caution now here, Zach, we go into overtime. But if we go into overtime for Mark Whitley and all those drivers, they still might not have a time to even go up front, even if they had fresh tires and the amount of drivers that would be on older ones. So the strategy later on in this race, it certainly is coming. But for Vincent Sora with 2 lap drivers in front of him, this is not where he wants to be.
Yeah, he wants to have some clean zone. Luckily, got a 2.7 second gap back to teammate Danny Cochran, so he can kind of cruise here. But like you said, there's 15 cars on the lead lap here. Not a lot of the guys have tires. So if you do have a set of tires and we do get a caution, then you're going to have a long way to go, my friend. So it's going to be wild nonetheless. But here, Vincent Sora is just trying to say, let's just have a calm, nice checker flag here at the end of the season.
Nice. Well, that's not what he's getting right now. John Forbes, as well as that of Carl Pooler, are going to be side by side in front of the 15 right now. Pooler going to be trying to find a spot to slide in, and you would expect both these drivers, yes, they're racing for position, but to just get out of the way. This is for a championship and for the win, but they continue to fight on side by side, coming in 2 laps to go.
Yeah, this is nerve-wracking right here, man. I tell you, these guys, I understand they're battling for a 14th and 15th position, but this 15's battling for a championship, and a lot on the line there for him as these two race side by side. Vincent Sora's got to be breathing a big sigh here. Carl Pooler, big loose on the back straightaway. Vincent Sora has nowhere to go here if something happens.
Vincent Sora's already been over the radio. What are we doing here? Was the exact word from the 15 as they were side by side coming across the line last time. Out of turn number 4, Vincent Sora, he's seeing the flight that he wants to see. It's your cosmic candle white flag here tonight. Who is going to get it done? We were questioning, would it be Ethan Smith, Brandon Colley, Vincent Sora, or Mark Whitley? Currently, it's Vincent Sora in the lead. He's got lap traffic in front of him that continue to stay side by side. Will they get out of the way or not? Carl Pooler, John Forbes, don't make contact. And John Forbes, for that of Vincent Sora, he's hoping to stay out of trouble. Backing off, coming at turn number 4. Your first season for the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. It is going to be Vincent Sora, your champion, here at the Southern Sports Media Championship race at Atlanta.
What a drive from Vincent Sora, man. He had such a great season. 6 wins to cap it off here tonight at Atlanta, and he's going to cap it off also with a championship. What a battle, man. This is exactly what you want to see coming down to you in a nice, clean, fair race. And, man, what a strategy call. They went the aggressive way, Sam, and the aggressive paid off as they're going to pull it off here tonight in the 15 camp.
The strategy for Vincent Sora that he told me was going to try to get clean air and set sail. And that is what the 15 machine did. Didn't have to worry about it. He had said its base competitor was Mark Whitley. Nowhere to be found. Confidence level, feel great, super confident in my pace, and he certainly did show it. Vincent Sora, tonight, race number 18, the championship race that mattered. He gets it done, being number 1 in wins, number 1 in top 5s, and number 1 in top 10s. Zach, he came in with the 2nd worst average of finishing, but he needed to get a win, and he got it done in getting the championship for the first season. Congratulations to Vincent Sora. 6 wins, 14 top 5s, 15 top 10s for this 15 machine. He gets to burn it down here tonight.
What a job by Vincent Sora, man. I'm really happy for the guy. Also, got a feel for the other competitors. Looks like Brandon Colley is going to be coming home 2nd in the championship with a 5th place finish. Mark Whitley going to be 7th there after heartbreaking getting into the wall. And then also back to all the way to the 11th position. It's Ethan Smith there. Tough strategy call for him there at the stage that really took him out of it.
They all put on their best effort, and as the 15 goes and does a Polish lap to honor all the fans, for us on the booth, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we get to talk to some of our championship competitors, and of course, our winner and now champion of the first season of the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, Vincent Sora. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the post-race show of the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series Championship race for that of the Southern Sports Media Championship race at Atlanta. We've got our top three finishers of the night, and as well, after we're done talking to third and second place, we'll talk to the winner and new champion here for the Truck Series. And we start all things off with third place runner there of Kyle Rochelle. Kyle, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. What a race it was for yourself. You were very competitive in the early going, but strategy struck at the end on when drivers were supposed to come into pit road. What else could you have done to possibly have won here tonight?
Probably pitted when Vince did, I guess. Once I got behind Whitley there with in fourth, running there for a while, I couldn't get by him and started to lose ground to Vince. And once that happened and he pitted, it would have been tough to make up any time anyway. But we came close.
Yeah, Kyle, I tell you what, Zach also appeared with me. I tell you what, great run here tonight, man. Showed a lot of speed in the 21 machine. It looked really tough to pass there tonight on the bottom. You guys were able to get to that 77s inside multiple times, you along with Vincent there, and it just seemed very tough to be able to complete the pass. You could get almost clear, but that outside line just seemed to fight back. How tough was it out there tonight to get that done?
Yeah, it was hard, especially when you got a guy right behind you too that's making a move. If you're making a move, they're gonna go to your outside, and then once that happens, you get freight train or loose or whatever. Really just had to wait for someone to make a mistake or just dive bomb someone correctly, which it was just hard. I don't think I made really any very good passes that way because it was so hard to pass.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how hard it was, Kyle, when you were racing with Mark Whitley earlier in the race. A little bit of contact between you two at that point, but how, when you were racing around the championship drivers, what was your mentality? Was it just a normal race, or were you trying to be a little bit more hesitant around them?
Yeah, I was being a little more hesitant. I mean, I was here to win. I also didn't want to wreck them. I was gonna race them as hard as I could, make it as hard on them as I could. Doesn't mean just because I'm not for the championship doesn't mean they shouldn't just give me. I don't think so. But I didn't wreck them. I raced them hard, raced them clean, so that's all that mattered.
Well, Kyle, a great run here tonight, and third place finish. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I just gotta thank you guys. You guys do a great job in the whole series. Thanks for letting me come on and race with them. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be Kyle Rochelle in the 21 machine here tonight. Again, third place finish. And Kyle, if we see you next season, can't wait for it. And if not, see you Saturday.
Be there. Thanks.
That's going to be Kyle Rochelle in the 21. And then we go down to talking to the teammates. Danny Cochran in the 2, going to get a second place finish. Came up shy last week trying to make the final 4, but certainly was a great advance to have here tonight, helping out his teammate. Danny, we got to see you racing out there, aggression between yourself and Danny and that of Brandon Colley before Vincent Sora passed you. Tell us about that moment when you were holding off or trying your best to hold off the one. How were you mentally at that moment trying to hold off that of Colley?
Well, I guess it was just kind of like, all right, I know we have the tire advantage. I know Vinny's coming or Sora's coming, but I imagine Brandon's probably not too thrilled with me. I was just thinking in my head, there's no way I'll let him get around me into the clean air. He can get alongside of me, that's fine, but no way I can afford to let him get out there in the clean air because all I had on my mind was just CSR getting that championship. So I was clawing, man. I was clawing everything I could to keep him behind me. That way Vinny could catch up. Roasted my tires a little bit doing it, but you'll have that, I guess, as they say. And yeah, just really happy it worked out the way it did. Yeah.
Hey, Danny, it's also Zach up here in the booth, man. Congrats on second drove. A great race tonight in that 2 machine. Able to really play a factor there with your teammate even and help out there in a critical moment here for the championship to get that team championship for you guys. Man, I tell you what, it was a hard-fought battle here tonight, but you guys decided to go with that aggressive strategy. You went with the tires there at lap 40 at the first stage. And how concerned were y'all for a caution? Was it the track position that made y'all decide that? And what was the nerves like there with a late caution possibly looming?
Well, we knew it would be a gamble from the start, but our thought process was, all right, it's been really clean up to this point. This was in the first stage. We saw how spread out it was. We just thought, man, it'll be worth our while to try and grow that lead after the stage break. And or I'm sorry, before the stage break to make sure we can have that track position going into the second stage. We thought there might be some guys pit really late and then not take tires at the stage. I think there was one or two. I think it was Ethan and Forbes maybe. But either way, the strategy worked out for us really well. We knew it'd be aggressive, but that's what you got to do to make stuff like that happen, man. You got to be aggressive.
That aggression worked out for sure there at the end. Danny, well, you had yourself a very successful season. Like I said, coming up short for the Final Four. How much of that pressure was lifted? I know you wanted to race for the Final Four and for a championship, but coming into this race, how was that just knowing, hey, I'm racing for a win, but also just trying to help a teammate?
Oh, I wasn't racing for a win from the start. I told Vincent, if I'm ever out in front of you, like through the pit cycles or whatever, I'll let you by me. I'm not racing you. At that moment, or tonight, I was just racing for CSR, trying to do everything I could to make sure we got that win and that we could, go back and neither one of us are 21, so I guess pop some sparkling cider back at the race shop. But yeah, I wasn't racing for myself tonight at all. I had no intentions of being in victory lane tonight. Just wanted to help out Vinny. Hopefully, Vincent, that makes up for the incident at Las Vegas. I hope we're on even footing now after that because I didn't want to wreck him then, and I was sure not going to mess him up now. So, yeah, it feels really good to get the championship for us, and I'm really, really excited and happy about that.
Well, let's see if it's weighted a little bit more where he needs to help you now. Danny, congratulations on a second place finish and for helping out the team getting the championship. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, just everybody in this league, man. It's been a great season. Enjoyed running with all you guys. I know there's been moments of tension, controversy, whatever like that, but it's been a great season. Can't wait for season 2. Hope to see everybody back there. It's unfortunate that Mark and Vinny won't be coming back for next season, but yeah, just shout out to all those guys, man. They're the reason it happens every week. It's the exciting racing that gets us these views, and you guys for getting us these views on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You all have done a phenomenal job all season long. And we're excited to have y'all back for season 2 and do it again. But other than that, any of my friends or family that's watching at home, Buddy's Custom Baits, Hot Lap Designs, and last but not least, shout out to my teammate Vincent Sora for getting that W. It was just awesome night all around. So thank you guys, and looking forward to season 2.
Well, thank you, Danny, and everyone racing for voting on the show that allows us to get excited and ramped up for every single race. That is the 2 of Danny Cochran going to be finishing out second place here tonight. And Danny, we cannot wait for season 2. Good luck then.
Thank you.
And now we bring in our championship winner and race winner up into the booth. We bring in Vincent Sora, your season 1 NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series champion. It is the 15 of Vincent Sora. Congratulations, Vinny. Man, how are you feeling after this one?
Feel great. It's been a super long season. Obviously, hasn't gone without its controversy and tense moments. But I just felt good the whole time, throughout the whole season. I knew that I was, one of the top guys here, and I just needed to close it out tonight. And thankfully, for once, my pit strategy worked like I wanted it to. I was a little nervous there after we went back green for the stage because I was like, man, one caution and my race is pretty much over here, and there goes the whole season. But thankfully, everything went my way. We went green, and I knew my long run speed was just going to be really good. So, yeah, finally got it done.
Hey, Vincent, also Zach up here. Congrats, buddy. You're able to get it done here. Get the inaugural championship here at the Truck Series. Gotta feel great. I know championships are far and few between. You gotta enjoy them when you have them. Man, it was a hard fought one the other night. You didn't, you started off well by starting on the pole. Quickly lost that lead there. Just take us through, keeping your head in this game when you were fighting strong to get that lead back. It seemed like you had the pace, but passing just was not tough. It was very tough here tonight, and you had to put the strategy to game.
Yeah, passing was super tough. I felt like, me and Kyle and, I felt like we were a little bit faster than Mark. He seemed to have burnt his right rear up a little bit and maybe even his right front on the entry there, just running that top groove. I knew, his tires were going to burn off a lot quicker than mine. And at the start of the race, it was just kind of about tire conservation. This track just, they'll run through tire sets like nothing. So, yeah, it was a little frustrating when I couldn't get around him because the top was just super dominant in defense, but the bottom was a little bit faster just in general. But I knew we were going to get a reset with the stage and, kind of level the playing ground. And I felt like I knew what to do if he was up on my back bumper, how to defend properly after kind of losing that lead pretty early there. So, yeah, felt pretty good after that second stage.
And we're also going to be bringing in Brian Johnson, pit reporter. Brian, if you got any questions for Vinny, here's your time.
No, I don't have any questions. I think you guys covered it, but just want to say congratulations. Most wins, most top fives, most top tens, and now the first champion here at the truck level here at NAISCC. So congrats, Vincent.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, Vinny, what a season it's been. Like Brian said, first in wins, first in top fives, first in top tens, and you win here when it matters the most. Congratulations on that. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Oh, absolutely. First off, I want to thank Danny Cochran for, kind of running this show over here. He's done a great job with this league. That's awesome. I've enjoyed every Monday night getting on here and turning laps with these guys. And he's just done a fantastic job managing everything, whether it's social media, graphics, Discord, races, whatever. He's a great teammate. He's a great sponsor and painter to my trucks. Just all around great guy. So off that, I'll go Buddy's Custom Baits. I want to thank that sponsor. I want to thank McConey Setup Shop. I want to thank Hot Lap Designs. I want to thank you guys. You guys just do a great job broadcasting. I want to thank my teammates at Category 5 Esports. And just everybody in the league. It's been a fantastic season.
Well, Vinny, you put on a show. You gave us all the storylines between your rivalry with that of Mark Whitley and yourself. And here tonight, the strategy, the drama, it all culminated to you here in Victory Lane. And now we can officially say it. You are the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series champion. Congratulations. I know you won't be back for season 2, but thank you for the memories here for season 1.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Vincent Sora, your winner again here for that of the Southern Sports Media Championship race, and your champion. Zach, I mean, we were up here, pins and needles for ourselves. We weren't sure if a caution was come out because we knew if it did, the 15 was most likely not going to win a championship, but it worked out perfectly strategy-wise, and he is our Season 1 champion.
Yeah, that just shows you how delicate these championships can be, man. I know from the driving side, when you have the chance to take the opportunity to win one, you got to grasp it. And that's what Vincent Sora did here tonight. One yellow flag could change the whole history of how this championship plays out. And that's what we deal with as drivers each and every week we go out there, and especially on these championship weeks. Man, they're so nerve-wracking. I just got to give a huge credit, first off, not only to the drivers for just putting on a show for us, just putting on a show each and every week, but not only here tonight, and just the league, man. It's been a fantastic season, and to close it out this way, congrats to Vincent Sora. Like Brian said, he had the top stats of almost every category. He is definitely well deserving, and in a format like this, it is very tough to back up your regular season stats. He did it. He pulled it off, and he can forever say he's the inaugural champion, man.
And those stats officially, with 6 wins in total, the 14 top 5s, 15 top 10s on his 18 starts this season, and an incredible season for sure. As we bring up our results here of the race, I want to throw it over to you, Brian. You actually were listening in. You even brought it up. Vincent Sora was being frustrated with how much he was stuck behind Mark Whitley. I mean, he must be feeling pretty relaxed now and cheering it on with the championship. But, I mean, you were there listening to how frustrated he was. Complete opposite feeling now.
Oh, yeah, the blood pressure was pretty high in that first stage with him stuck in that dirty air and on the inside of Mark Whitley there. But I think his blood pressure may have been even higher in the last 10 laps of that race, just hoping that you don't see a yellow flag. I mean, he put his eggs all in one basket, right? Taking those tires at the end of the stage and taking tires again at the stage just to ensure that you keep that track position that you gained. But going to the final stage only having that one set of tires, if he stays green, he wins. If the caution comes out, you lose. So it's that high risk, high reward situation. And he had amazing stats with wins, top 5s and top 10s. But I'll throw it back to a stat that you threw out to us at the top of the show, Sam, with Vincent, his average qualifying. starting position at 1.5 miles was 6th place, but tonight he comes and sits on the pole and then wins the race. Flawless strategy, of course, had a little bit of luck, but Vincent came here to win tonight, and that definitely showed. And Atlanta being the driver's track, all the drivers tonight did a fantastic job with those final 4 guys. On the track wise, couldn't really ask anything else from them. They did really, really well. It just came down to strategy, and sometimes those races are the best ones to watch.
They really are. We saw 3 major different strategies being thrown out. We saw Vincent Sora, who won here tonight, and Danny Cochran going with the take tires during stage 1. And then we saw other drivers wait until that stage break, such as, that of Kyle Rochelle, James Loveland, also that of Colley. And we saw Aaron Kralik going to be finishing up in 6th. 7th goes to Mark Whitley. 8th, Dakota Moniz. 9th, Sean Hutstelter. Then Thomas Walter. Ethan Smith, though, went with the gutsy call of not taking tires at the stage break. It cost them 11th for our 4th and final of our final 4 drivers that raced here tonight. You look at some of the other drivers, though, and where they finished. I mean, a lot of these other drivers we'd seen other storylines with. We've seen Trevor Earhart, who had early troubles in the race. Gregory Shaw, who we call usually Mr. Aggressive, didn't really get to hear him at all this season. I mean, that all tonight. We're interested to see how next season's going to come. 2 of our top winners not going to be coming back for next season. Zach, that means it's going to be a complete new ballpark on who's going to be up front, as well as your final thoughts of tonight's race.
Yeah, completely whole different playing field for sure. I mean, you see the 15 and the 77 definitely do a little bit of domination throughout the season here, and they're not going to be back, so it's going to change everything up. You got to look at guys like Danny Cochran, Brandon Colley, Kyle Rochelle, James Loveland, guys that really are around the edge, Ethan Smith, even there in the top 4, I mean, that are going to have whole new chances now when this all runs back around. We might have some new faces too, so I mean, it's about a month away from when we get back going, and it's going to be exciting to get everything done. But again, I got to congratulate Vincent Sora on a fabulous performance. That kid really drove the wheels off it tonight and deserved the championship. And definitely tell him just to enjoy this one, because trust me, I know how championships can be. You never know when you'll get another.
Also, we're going to throw it over to you, Brian. Thanks for joining us halfway through, enhancing the broadcast, being our pit road reporter, giving us Taming the Turns. Thank you for giving this broadcast just another level Monday nights. And any of your final thoughts of this season?
No, well, thank you for having me. I was glad to do it. It was something a little different that I think, we usually don't see. So that was pretty interesting and a cool learning process. And hopefully we can continue to do that for this series here on Monday nights. But yeah, I mean, this truck series here on Monday nights is, it never. I feel like I say this a lot, but it never fails to disappoint. I'm always excited for every single race, and it always keeps me on the edge of my seat. And that's really all you can ask for um, in these races like this. And yeah, I'm happy that we can continue to do this, and looking forward.
Said it at the start of the broadcast. I even said at the start of the season. Expansion was the goal of this truck series, birth from Saturday night's NAISCC Cup Series. They wanted another series. They brought the trucks. That started all the way back in middle of September. And since then, 49 drivers have shown up. Over 18 races have happened this season. And now we are down to just one driver that got the championship. It is that 15 machine, Vincent Sora, that got it done. For Brian Johnson, Pit Road Reporting, Zach Hall being my my name is Sam Dyer. Well, there's one more person that we haven't heard tonight. We got to throw it over to our producer, Robert Moore Jr., to give us our final call of this season.
All right. Well, thank you again, you guys, man. You hit on every pointing talk that I was going to say here. Ending this stream here tonight, 18 weeks in the books, and what a time we had here. 18 weeks. It's been a long season for these drivers. These drivers grounded it out month after month for a while here, and man, it's great to see Vincent and just everybody, the top 4 that made it into that into the top 4. But before we sign off here, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to give a shout out to just a couple people. It's been one of these seasons here, that it's been awesome here for Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For one, I want to give a shout out to Race Car Graveyard for sponsoring this series. We do much appreciate it up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting too. We give you a shout out every Monday night, and we do appreciate you coming aboard with this. With these guys here. We also want to give a shout out to Hot Laps Designs. Make sure you go check them out. We do appreciate that. Guys, you were talking about what we've seen all season here. And, we go back and we were talking. You noted Sam at the beginning of the broadcast. We seen what happened between teammates at Las Vegas. We never thought what we would see here by viewerships and subscribers and everybody that in this league, family members, and them shooting it out on the social media platform and helping us grow, just like all the other leagues do. But these guys helping us outgrow. We do much appreciate that. I mean, whoever thought we would have a race at Texas where Sam Dyer, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta go back and watch it, literally lose his voice by screaming in the microphone. And not only to top that, never thought in my wildest dreams we'd make iRacing's top 10. Yeah, we made it in the top 10, number 6. So make sure you go check that out over there on iRacing's YouTube page. Whoever thought? We would never thought. These guys just brought the action every week, So I do much appreciate all of them and everybody coming aboard. And also I want to appreciate everybody here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Sam, Brian, Zach, everybody that you guys do in the background here that make this happen here week in and week out. And you guys put on one whale of a show, and we do much appreciate it. I much appreciate it, and I know the league much appreciates it. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing we're going to show up here, and this is, let me get to the right screen here. I do apologize for that. Go to the right screen is our upcoming schedule here. As you can see here, we're going to be off tomorrow night, but Wednesday night we head off to the Roval there with the Underdog Racing League as we go live at 8:30 Eastern with them. So make sure you tune in and don't miss some road course racing out there at the Xfinity cars. And then on Thursday we head off to Richmond with Stars and Stripes with Sam Dyer and Zach Hall calling all that action. Make sure you tune in at 9:20 when we go live for that, and then we wind up staying at Richmond until Saturday night, and then we have Saturday night's NAISCC Cup Series going live at 8:50, and we're going to see some of these drivers we've seen here tonight, like you said, and it's an expansion off of that, and we're going to see some of these drivers hit Richmond now on their next way and see if they can bring home a victory Saturday night, as it will be Terry Rafford and Sam Dyers calling all the action here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But with that being said, hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's content. If you're going back and watching this, we do much appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and share it to your favorite social media platform of your choosing. Doesn't matter where it is, but the league appreciates it, and we appreciate it here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But with that being said, Monday night's over, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. 18 weeks in the books. Vincent Sora, your inaugural champion. Man, did he battle it out. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to his team. And congratulations to his family. But until Wednesday night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we always like to say, God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.